Hello and welcome to Learn with Hema's class. My dear students, today we are going to do a video of question and answers of haunted houses written by H.W. Longfellow from the Evergreen workbook for class 10th ICSE board. Quickly we'll go ahead because it's a very lengthy chapter. There are 10 passages and almost 20 MCQs in this. So let's move forward. But before going ahead, one small request. Dear children, if you are not my subscriber, that is if you are not a subscriber of Learn with Hema, then please do subscribe my channel and stay tuned to all my coming up videos. So this is read the following questions and select the correct option. So first question is select the option that shows the correct relationship between these two statements. The statement are statement 1, the world of the spirits is very delicate. Statement 2, this world passes through mists and vapors. Options over here are, these are the two statements given. On the basis of these statements, there are some options. 1 is the cause for 2. That is, 1 is the cause for 2. 2 is an example of 1 or 2 is an example of 1. 2 is independent of 1 and 1 is a contradiction of 2. So here the correct option is A. That is, 1 is the cause for 2. Which of the following lines contains the same literary device as the one in this line? These perturbations, this perpetual jar. So here this figure of speech is a metaphor. So let's see which of the following literary device matches with this literary device. Gathered like pearls India graves. So this is your simile. Death be not proud. This is apostrophe. The weakening eye of day. The weakening eye of day, this can be taken as metaphor. His script, the cloudy canopy. This is also a metaphor. So there can be a choice between two. So I have taken up as his script, the cloudy canopy. Third question, impalpable impressions on the air. Select the option that best conveys the meaning of the word impalpable. Now, the options are indelible, inevitable, intangible, solid. So, the correct answer is intangible, C. Fourth one, the poet refers to the stranger at the fireside as the one, but perceives what is as A, imaginative, B, spiritual, C, realist, and D, practical. So, the correct answer is C, realist. See, I will be coming up with the explanation video very soon. But before that, I have to come up with Julius Caesar Act 3 Scene 1, which students are requesting a lot, and also with the photographer. So, I am working on them. The course books are not yet out for the answers for these. Select the correct options. Now, there is assertion is given to you, that is a statement is there, and reason is given. The ghosts seen by the speaker are harmless. Reason, they come and go quietly. Okay, so here, 1 is true but 2 is false. 1 is false but 2 is true. Both 1 and 2 are true, both 1 and 2 are false. So here the correct option is both 1 and 2 are true. That is the C option. Longfellow presents his ghosts as. Longfellow, how he says his ghost is sinister, inoffensive, menacing or ugly. So Longfellow says that they are inoffensive. Ghosts in the poem move about. A, in search of some victim, on some errands, aimlessly in search of food. So the correct answer is on some errands. B, option B. Which of these statements is not true? Now here the options are, the speaker cannot see or hear ghosts. The speaker can see or hear ghosts. All houses are frequented by ghosts. Ghosts do not harm human beings. So here, because we want a statement which is not true. So A is the option which is not true. The speaker cannot see or hear ghosts. What kind of spirit world is perceived? Ugly, beautiful, delicate and quiet, sensitive. So it is delicate and quiet. The ghosts visit their former dwellings as. The ghost visits their former dwellings as guests, owners, strangers, onlookers. So they visit their former dwelling as owners. What kind of bridge on the sea waves is imagined? Solid, perpetual, steady, waving. So answer is waving. As silent as the pictures on the wall, which figure of speech is used in the line? So irony, metaphor, sarcasm, simile. So it is simile. Who are referred to as the owners and occupants of the earlier dates? Ghosts, strangers, landlords, ancestors. So answer is ghosts. The phrase hold in mortmain implies temporary ownership, permanent ownership, no ownership, mortgaged. So the correct answer is permanent ownership. What brings in balance in human lives? Religious books, opposite forces in life, opposite attractions and desires, good values. So the answer is opposite attractions and desires. So here we complete our MCQs and now we'll start with our passages. There are a total of 10 passages. Quickly I'll move through. This is the first passage, that is the first stanza of your poetry. The first question is, what does the poet mean by the first sentence of the extract? Now my dear children, this question and answers which I am giving you, they are from the revised book, new book. Okay, the old book, the last year which books were out, in those books there are some questions different in the sense they mean the same but they are differently written. So this is from the new book. The framing of the question is from the new book, though they mean the same. The old book and the new book, they almost mean the same except for one or two. So you can have a look at the question from your workbook also and then you can write the answer. What does the poet mean by the first sentence of the extract? By the first sentence of the extract, the poet Longfellow means the house in which men lived before but are now dead. In what way are all houses haunted? The men who lived in the houses are dead now. The souls of these dead men keep visiting these houses, thus making them haunted. Why is the phrase harmless phantoms unusual? The poet has tried to dispel the conventional image of ghosts as generalized notions that people have by describing them as harmless phantoms, so the phrase harmless phantoms is unusual. What kind of the spirit world is connected by the poet later in the context? The world of spirits floats around the human world of senses or reality like the air of the atmosphere envelops the earth. This world, that is the spirit of world, passes through everything like earthly mists and dense waves. It is like the vital breath of delicate air from the other world. Where can we, according to the poet, meet ghosts? According to the poet, we can meet ghosts at the doorway of the house, on the stairs, along the passages from where they come and go, at the dining table, in the hall, almost around the house. This is the second passage, that is the second stanza. What kind of ghosts are imagined by the poet earlier in the context? The ghosts imagined by the poet earlier in the context are harmless phantoms who are on their errands, glide all through the house where once they were alive. Where do we meet them? Are they visible? We meet them at the doorway, on the stair, along the passage, at the dining, in the hall, etc. No, they are not visible but just impalpable impressions. Explain the last two lines. Ghosts are just like impressions on the air. They cannot be felt physically but they can be present anywhere in the house. The poet says, we meet them at the doorway, on the stair. What does he mean by this? The poet means that the ghosts roam freely in their former dwelling without harming anyone and without making any sound. Though we are unaware of their movement in the house, we meet them at the doorway, on the stairs. Where do they throng as mentioned later in the context? Later in the context, they throng in the illuminated hall. The big illuminated halls are crowded by silent, harmless ghosts. They remain as silent as pictures on the wall. Now this is a third stanza. The first question. Who are the uninvited guests at the table? The ghosts of the people who once lived there in that house are the uninvited guests at the table. Why are they there uninvited? Invitations are usually meant for living, that is alive, beings. In this context, they are uninvited because they are phantoms, dead and cannot be seen or heard by the hosts. What is surprising about these uninvited guests? In normal life, uninvited guests are a nuisance for the host, but it is surprising that these uninvited guests are quite inoffensive and silent as the pictures on the wall. What is meant by as silent as the pictures on the wall? The poet H.W. Longfellow has used a simile to compare the phantoms with the picture on the wall, stating their quiet, undisturbing behavior. What can the speaker see and hear which others cannot? The speaker is the one who can see their form or ghosts, that is the impressions of their presence, and hear their sounds or voices, whereas a stranger or a guest sitting with the speaker by the fireplace is unable to perceive their presence as the speaker. This is the fourth passage, that is the fourth stanza. What contrast is made in the first two lines here? The first two lines enlightens the contrast that the speaker is perhaps one of the ghosts sitting by the fireside while the stranger is the present occupant of the house. What do you think of the extraordinary powers of the speaker? The extraordinary powers of the speaker are unfeasible, impracticable to find in normal human beings. Perhaps the speaker is one of the hosts sitting by the fireside. What has been told by the speaker about the unseen forms earlier in the context? The unseen forms mentioned earlier cannot be felt physically. They can be met anywhere, at the doorway, on the staircase, and along the passage as they move about. There is nothing tangible about them. What does the poet mean by all that has been is visible and clear? By all that has been is visible and clear. The poet means that they were alive once but now are dead. Who is he in line 3? Is he normal human being? He is the stranger who is sitting alongside the fireplace with the speaker. Yes, he is a normal human being as he can perceive whatever is seen in the present. Now, fifth passage. We have no title deeds to house or lands. Owners and occupants of earlier dates from graves forgotten stretch their dusty hands and hold in mortmains till their old estates. What idea of ghosts is given earlier in the context? Earlier in the context, the idea was that ghosts are impressions on the air that cannot be felt but are present everywhere in the house, right from the entrance, the door to the dining table and hall. Where can we meet the departed spirits? The departed spirits can be met anywhere in the house in which they dwelled once, such as at the doorway, on the staircase and along the passage. They can also be met at the dining table or the big illuminated hall. Who do not have the title deeds to their house or land? The present resident of the house do not have the title deeds of their house or lands. What do the departed spirits claim from their graves? The departed spirits claim to inalienable possession of the properties visited by them which were once inhabited by them when they were alive from their graves. Explain the phrase hold in mortmain. An inalienable possession of lands or buildings by an ecclesiastical or other corporation. The spirit world around this world of sense floats like an atmosphere and everywhere wafts through these early mists and vapors dense, a vital breath of more ethereal air. This is passage number 6. So first question, why does the poet describe all houses are haunted earlier in the context? The poet describes all houses are haunted earlier in the context because according to the poet, all houses in which men have lived and died are visited by the ghosts or spirits of early occupants. How have the ghosts been described by the poet? The poet have described ghosts as harmless phantoms who are busy with their errands and move purposefully around the house as they did when they were living. What can the speaker see or hear? The speaker is the one who can see the impressions of the departed spirits, that is the ghosts, and can also hear their sounds. What kind of the world of spirits is? How does the poet describe the spirit world? The world of spirits is quite delicate. The poet describes the world of spirit like the atmosphere that floats around the human world of reality. What crosses through earthly mists and vapors? The world of spirits passes through earthly mists as dense vapors, just like the vital breath of delicate air from the other world. Passage 7. Our little lives are kept in equipoise by opposite attractions and desires, the struggle of the instinct that enjoys and the more noble instinct that aspires. Whose lives are being referred to in the line 1? The lives of living humans are being referred to in line 1. What brings about balance in our short lives? The poet says that human lives are short and kept in balance by maintaining opposite attractions and desires. Explain the last two lines of the extract. Every living human possesses two types of instincts: base instincts that seek worldly pleasures and enjoyment, and noble instincts that aspire for higher and noble goals and spiritual aims. Human beings have to deal with these contradictory impulses to achieve equipoise or balance in life. State what fills our life with anxieties and fears later in the poem. Later in the poem, anxieties and fears that fills our life are the result of our earthly needs and high aspirations. These are not the creation of human beings but are shaped by some unknown forces from a remote planet in the universe. Which bridge of light connects our world to the heavenly world? The bridge of light which is created by the moonlight falling on the sea connects our world to the heavenly world. Next passage. These perturbations, this perpetual jar of earthly wants and aspirations high, come from the influence of an unseen star and undiscovered planet in our sky. What brings about balance in our lives as mentioned earlier in the context? Earlier in the context, the short human life is maintained by balancing two contradictory instincts, base instincts and noble instincts. Explain the metaphor used by the poet in the first two lines. The human soul, which is immortal, has been compared metaphorically to a perpetual jar of earthly wants and high aspirations. What do you mean by earthly wants and aspirations high? Earthly wants and aspirations high means humans have demands in their lives which is compared to their greed full of earthly pleasures and fame. What are perturbations? Perturbations means any kind of anxiety, mental uneasiness and fear that takes place in the lives of humans due to their earthly needs and high aspirations. What is determined by an unseen, undiscovered planet in our sky? Mental disturbances, anxieties and fears are determined by an unforeseen, undiscovered planet in our sky. Now, ninth passage. And as the moon from some dark gate of cloud throws over the sea floating bridge of light, across whose trembling planks our fancies crowd into the realm of mystery and night. First question, when and how is a bridge of light formed? When the moon comes out of the dark clouds, its light falls on the sea waves and forms a floating bridge of light. What is the function of this bridge? Human imaginations travel across the planks of this trembling bridge into a dark and mysterious world. This bridge connects us, that is humans, to the spirit of our loved ones who has left for heavenly abode long ago. Which figure of speech is used in the first two lines here? The figure of speech used in the first two lines here is the metaphor. Here the moon is compared to a gate of cloud and its light to a floating bridge of light. Where does our fancy take us? Our fancy travels across the planks of the trembling bridge into a dark and mysterious world. Which realm is the poet talking about in this extract? Human fancies travel across the planks of the bridge of light which comes out of the dark clouds into a dark mysterious world. The world, which is also the abode of spirits, is connected to us through this bridge. Only the spirits can cross through this bridge of light. So this is the last passage. So from the world of spirits, there descends a bridge of light connecting it with this over whose unsteady floor that sways and bends wander our thoughts about the dark abyss. What has the poet told us about the world of spirits? The poet conveys that spirits are real by explaining how people who have lived before us are still in this world but in a changed form. Where can we meet the departed spirits? The departed spirits can be met on the bridge of light descending from the world of spirits. What is the significance of so in the line 1? The so in line 1 indicates a connection or consequence or condition of the previous statement about the moon's bridge of light. Which bridge descends from the world of spirits? What has it been compared to? The bridge of light descends from the world of spirits and it has been compared to the moon's bridge of light that descends from the clouds. What do we often think of? We often think of wandering thoughts about the dark abyss as our thoughts sway and bend on the unsteady floor of the bridge of light. So I think with this, all the 10 passages I have read the question and answers, I have prepared it. The course books are not out, but I have done it for your sake. Soon I will be coming up with others also. Now there are some answers which you might think that these are big. You can cut short them, take only the key points, and if you think the answers are very small, you can add on with them so to make them long. So because whatever I can do, I can think I have written that. But if you think or your school teacher asks you to write a little lengthier one or little shorter one, you can work out on the given answers. So that's all for today. We'll soon meet in the next video. Till then, stay safe, stay secure. Thank you.